So Star Wars Acolyte is finally over. The day I've been dreading is here, and the finale is now complete, and we can see how much of a waste of time this show really is. I'm left with a hollow feeling that Star Wars is over. It really is dead. I'm feeling defeated. I'm done. I can't wait to not have to review this show week after week. Although I will miss hanging out with you guys and complaining about it because it is fun. I do have a good time making these videos, but I do not enjoy watching this show. So this episode has the most kind of action in the show other than episode 5, which was just pretty much one long action scene the whole episode, and that's not enough to save it. It's the best part of the episode is we get a battle between Soul and Kamir, and that's pretty much the best part of the whole show practically, other than that episode 5. But that's not enough to save the show. That's not even enough really to keep my attention. There's so much stupid stuff in this episode, and the whole story just kind of it doesn't even conclude because they're trying to make season 2 happen, but everything just kind of feels pointless towards the end. The characters all go in a big circle, and none of the motivations are sensible or easy to track or anything makes sense at all. There's no depth to anything. The slow pacing of the show made it feel like simultaneously nothing was happening, and yet they were rushing through everything at the same time. It was both too long and too short at the same time. And I don't know how they did that. There's just so little actual substance in this show, but most of it is in this final episode. And when we finally see what the substance is, I'm just like, why did we do this at all? So really, we're just gonna break it down scene by scene here and get all the stupid stuff out of my head, so I never have to think about this show again until I want to milk it for another video tomorrow or something like that. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to hang out with me and go through more shows, hopefully some good ones every now and again, definitely hit the sub button and let me know what you feel about it with your comments and etc. And hit the like button, all that. All that really helps. And I will see you guys in future videos, I hope. So this first scene here, we pick up right where we left off, and Osha, because everybody was so mad I was pronouncing it Osha. I don't really give a fuck what the pronunciation is, and I thought about holding that and just saying it wrong continuously for fun, but I'll say it right because they say it so much this episode, okay? Osha, Osha, okay, are you happy now? Osha, Osha, put the goddamn headset on, and she was breathing real loud as Darth Vader, and they make her Darth Vader in this. She does the fork choke, and she's so amazingly powerful with very little training, because it turns out that she was never really trained as a Jedi, I guess. So she had very little training. She's amazing at everything. Congratulations, you're another Rey, okay? The worst type of character, except we got the evil version of Rey in this one. And they have the breathing in here to foreshadow that. The headset thing, I kind of like the design of it. I made fun of it a little bit, calling it a gimp mask and stuff like that, and you could definitely clown on it, but it's probably the coolest piece of design that they have, so I'm not going to complain too much. But they are doing too little too late to show Osha is so amazingly powerful in this scene, because this guy Kamir, who just murdered all these Jedi without breaking a sweat practically, although a bug was enough to defeat him in the last episode where he had a big fight scene. But she just facing him down is giving him this like flashback conniption thing where he's in another world and he's in a dark place or something, and that's all of her negative emotion inside her, and he's battling it out even though he's a murderer, so he's already a Sith guy. He's got to have all that in him because that's what makes you a Sith, is all of this negative energy. So but for some reason, because her mother died, that means that she is a bigger Sith than he is. They didn't really do enough in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, to really justify why Osha is so all of a sudden infatuated with him. And, I mean, it makes sense that she wouldn't want to kill him because of her ideology, being with the Jedi and all that. But just in this episode, they become lovers practically. They're holding hands at the end of the episode. She becomes a Sith in this episode. The one thing that would have made sense for her to become attached to him and become the Sith is if he was the one to explain that Soul killed her mother. That would have made sense, but they wanted to give that to another character for some reason. So we have May here, and remember the last time we saw Soul, he's like, I'm going to tell you the truth of what really happened. And then he tells her, well, presumably it happened off screen. We got the whole flashback episode last week. And then it turns out it's all stuff that she already knew. So he told her nothing, and that whole last scene was pointless. And then last episode, or 2 episodes ago, he turned off the radio and ran away from the other Jedi. Also, he could have this conversation with her, and then he turns it right back on and wants to meet them at the place where the Vergence is, because for some reason he needs to tell them this story. It really, we'll get back to the Vergence stuff later, but I just am not following his logic in the slightest. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And then not Osha, May, is able to get one over on him because he was stupid enough not to take the stupid robot, which is really just a MacGuffin plot element who's not even a character anymore because he got deleted last episode. He is stupid enough to leave that in there because he's a freaking moron who's emotionally compromised, and I guess that's really the point of his character, is he's overly emotional, prone to outbursts, just not Jedi-like at all, not stoic. This character just completely flopped. I hate this character, how it turned out. So she, all of a sudden, despite the fact that she always wanted to kill the Jedi, now she's just trying to run away, which I don't understand why she doesn't want to just try to kill him at this point. Maybe because she doesn't have a lightsaber right now. I don't really know. But anyways, she is now fleeing in an escape pod, which I would think would be slower than the other ship, right? Or I guess maybe because it's smaller, it's faster. I don't know lore enough to really say. It doesn't really make sense to me that a small escape pod would be able to outrun this thing. And that's not really what happens anyway, but that's what she tries to go into this like Saturn rings, which is really just like an asteroid belt, and she's in between 2 layers. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm a dumbass, but I didn't think that like Saturn's rings were literally like 2 layers and then a bunch of space in the middle. I kind of just thought it was just an asteroid belt that was like kind of dense. So I don't know, is this really how it works? I don't know. It's the coolest effect in the episode. It's where a lot of the budget went. But this whole scene is just kind of nonsensical. And right before May gets in the ship, she turns to him and says, I'll see you in hell, which is usually something you say right before you kill somebody, because that's where hell is after you die. And I didn't think that Star Wars had that concept in it. So it feels out of place. It's kind of like in 2 episodes ago, when May is like, I'll reset you to factory settings. It's too in our world. It feels anachronistic in Star Wars. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It feels out of place. It's kind of corny, and it doesn't even make sense because she's not killing him. But anyways, for some reason, the Gopher thing is so annoying because I was wrong. He is the one who told Soul that it's actually May, and Soul was just a dumbass this whole time. He didn't realize because he's emotionally compromised and is just a stupid character. And he's about to shoot May, right? Which I'm not even really sure why he's doing that. It seems against everything he's been up to this point. I don't know why he seems to, like, I love Osha and I hate May. And then later he's like, oh, you guys are kind of an abomination. So I don't really understand what's going on here at all. But he wants to shoot her, and for some reason, the Gopher's the most moral one, and he's like, no, you can't do it. Even though the Gopher was trying, stupidly put himself in danger, and just a stupid joke scene, wrong tone after the episode previous to that, just totally fell flat, that scene. But this Gopher all of a sudden doesn't want to kill May, is protecting her for some reason. I don't know. We get to Coruscant, and now we have a really forced, like, kind of joke scene. Again, just all this attempts at humor, just terrible. And he's saying, the senator's here to see you. This senator, we set it up in the first episode. The senator wants oversight for the Jedi. He thinks the Jedi are a cult. And I mean, it's not really in line with how the Jedi actually are in George Lucas Star Wars. Like, the prequels are all about, here's how the Jedi, they got a little too comfortable, the hubris of the Jedi, they let evil show up, they thought that they knew better, all of that stuff. But that was like over a long period of time, and then we get to that point. But the Jedi Order still has meaning. You know, it's not one note thing. It was a big transition. And here it's just like, no, the Jedi were always stupid and evil, and we should question their power. And for some reason, government oversight is going to help. And I mean, he's making sense based on how the Jedi are depicted in this show. And I love the actor, because it's Mr. Door from Alan Wake 2, which I really enjoyed that game, and he's a cool character, and he might be Saga's father, actually. Whoa! I think that's probably true. But anyways, getting back to this show, now we're with Osha, and they're boarding the ship, and then now Sol is turning his thing back on. He wants the Jedi to find him all of a sudden. They have to find him on this planet. And now we're going through the old sets, and they're destroyed, which I kind of like the destroyed sets. You know, the before and after is cool from a production design standpoint. Although, you know, I'm pretty sure most of this is green screen or whatever, but it's fine. And now Osha's in the dark robes. She's almost completed her transformation. And then Sol and Kamir catch up to each other. And Kamir, for some reason, this whole time he's had double lightsabers and only is just now using it. I guess this means that Sol is like the most powerful Jedi that he fought against, because he needed the extra leverage. I don't know. It just felt a little random. Like, why didn't we see that before? And in episode 5, when there were more Jedi, like, it would have made more sense in that fight, I would have thought, because there would have been attacks coming from multiple directions, and it would have actually helped. I don't really know how practical it actually is in real life to have two swords, but for the purpose of cinema, it would make sense, because he could block this way and attack this way, or block multiple directions. You know what I mean? So it would have actually made more sense in that episode, but it's kind of a nitpick at the end of the day. Here we get the sisters showing up, and they have a very forced kind of kung fu fight that, you know, I thought was kind of funny with all the slow-mo and all that. And then we're cutting back and forth between these two fights, and this is where it's, like, watchable. You know, this part of the episode is like, okay, we have something going on, but there's no substance there, so it just doesn't really ring true. It's not going to be memorable or anything, but it's watchable in this portion. And then we get to this part where, of course, May was like, oh, Sol murdered our mother, which is like, okay, why didn't you say that in episode 5 when you met up before, you know, when she knocked her out and then swapped clothes with her? Like, why not explain the truth at that point? You know, she wouldn't have received it at that point, but, you know, anyways. And then May just really, it's so forced, because they already had this conversation on the ship that he killed the mother, and then he's convinced into saying it again. And then he says, I did the right thing because she was too powerful. So again, it's like the senator is like, oh, the Jedi are too powerful and there's nobody to come against them. And this person was too powerful, so Sol had to kill her, etc. So I guess they're just like, we need balance, I think, is what they're going for. But it just is a little kind of confusing. But I don't think that that's really accurate to what we saw last episode. Last episode, Soul killed her because he saw the mother turning into this black smoke monster. And then he looked over at May, who he thought it was Osha, and she was turning into this black smoke monster as well. So I assumed, I didn't even notice the black smoke on Osha or May as Osha the first time because I was laughing too hard at the monster thing. Like, it looked funny to me. But rewatching it, it looks to me like he thought that whatever the mother was doing was going to result in one of the sisters disappearing, which I think is what was going to happen. So he really did it to save them. And now he's phrasing it as if he did it because the mother was too powerful, even though we don't really have any evidence of this power being dangerous to anybody. All we have are two sisters. He's like, she created life with the Force. I don't know. What is so dangerous about creating twin sisters? And they're actually one person. He used the Vergence. I don't even really know what a Vergence is. And she used the Vergence to make one person who's actually two people, or two people who are actually one person. What is the what does it matter? Who cares? Why is that so like, whoa? Oh, it's not like a Death Star that's going to result in the destruction of every civilization. Like, it makes no sense why that is the reason. Why didn't he say, I thought that she was going to kill you? Or I thought she was going to kill your sister, so I did what I thought I had to in the moment. It was an accident. I didn't really mean to. I didn't know what she was doing. That's what happened. That's what we all saw happen. But they make it so much stupider. And he's like, it was my plan to kill her all along. And guess what? He had every opportunity to do that earlier and didn't do it. And it's like, he wants to kill the sisters too. He loves Osha, right? And this whole motivation, this whole series has been he wants to save her, and May is the bad one. And yet now he's like, you are one person. So why is there a separation in your mind if they're actually one person? Dude, it's so stupid. It's making my brain melt trying to think about it. And then Osha, who's the point of view character we're supposed to like this whole show, does the most evil shit and just force chokes him to death. And it was awful. And why doesn't May try to stop her? And like, at that point, it's like, I'm checked out because Osha was the only character left that you're supposed to root for that I cared about. Because Soul just proved to be a moron in the previous episode, so I don't care about him anymore. The Sith guy is just a murderer. May is a murderer. Osha's a murderer. Every character left in the show is a murderer. Except for Vernestra, and she's an idiot. And, like, we gotta save our own skin and stop the Senate from overlooking us, which is like, what is she afraid that the senator is going to do? Okay, so if they're doing nothing wrong and the senator is looking over their shoulder, what is going to be different? It would be good to illustrate what she thinks the senator might do, or the senator's a bad guy, or he's corrupt, or something, like some reason other than just selfish bullshit, which is against what the Jedi are about, right? And I get it. The Jedi are imperfect. That's why the prequels happened. That's why Palpatine was able to rise to power. Okay, we all get that. But this is a different era. You know, I don't know, dude. It's so stupid. So that's why I hate all this. And then we got the Jedi catching up to the twins, and then the twins decide that they have to wipe her memory, May's memory, for some reason. And they're best friends all of a sudden. Because I don't know why they bonded over murdering people. I don't know. We're one person. And they gotta wipe her memory for what purpose? She says that they're going to use me to find you. Well, it's not like you guys didn't know each other existed prior to the first episode. They thought each other were dead until they ran into each other. How are they, like, they don't have this force connection that they know where each other are at any given moment, or this whole series would have ended in episode 1. Right? I mean, I really don't understand. I don't understand why this is necessary. The Jedi already know who she is. One of the sisters was arrested, and they've all seen her. It's not like the Jedi that have seen her are all dead now. She was in Coruscant. They all know what she looks like. And the only way to tell them apart is the tattoo on the forehead, which is another reason why Soul was an idiot for not noticing. But now we got this tearful goodbye, and it's like, I'm supposed to be emotional right now? I hate both of them. They're murderous assholes. Okay? And even if Soul, you think he deserved some retribution, and I could see an argument for that, May was the one who was right in that we should go to trial or whatever. That's ethically the right thing to do. Although, May's also a murderer. So I don't understand why she changed her opinion on murdering Jedi all of a sudden. And dude, it's just so many layers of stupidity. I just don't understand what this show was for. And now, to save the Jedi's skin, she's going to make Soul look like the bad guy, which I'm pretty sure lying is against the Jedi code or whatever, right? And this whole thing was like, Soul was like, I had to kill, or what was it again? I needed May to prove that you guys are from the Virgins, and it's like, okay, so there's two twins. There are also identical twins that exist. So why does having two twins there prove anything? And why does he need to prove that anyway to avoid covering up what they did, when what he did was, in his opinion, self-defense at the moment? Like, my brain hurts trying to explain this shit. I don't even know if I'm making sense. If I'm not, I'll add it in later. But then we got the lovers holding hands. I guess all's forgiven. Osha had this other girl that they implied that she was like in love with or something, and she's forgiven him for that because Soul did something. Like, I'm like, it's physically painful for me to try to understand what this show is about. And then Yoda shows up at the end, and it's like, bro, Yoda was in this room all season doing nothing. He's just meditating, sitting here, doing nothing while all this is happening. And Yoda didn't feel anything in the Force, like he always had these premonitions about things going on elsewhere in the movies and such. And now just all of a sudden, he didn't know anything was going wrong. I'm just sitting in a room. And she's like, sorry to interrupt, or something like that. Interrupt what? I don't know. Maybe he's choking his chicken in there. I don't know. What is he doing? Watching YouTube videos? Like, what is he doing? Well, he's watching all my videos about how bad Star Wars Acolyte is, and he's like, yeah, this guy's making some good points. This show is pretty dumb. I don't think I want to be a part of that, but I guess I have to. They're coming into my room. I gotta go. It's clearly just bait for season 2, and I thought this show was advertised as a limited series, so I was expecting a full story here, but clearly they want a season 2, and it really doesn't deserve it. And if it does get it, it will be because so many people hate watched it or something. I don't know. People are talking about it. That's the only reason I watched it, was to make videos, because people asked me to make videos about it. So I've given up on Disney Star Wars after The Last Jedi, and I'm only now pulled back in because of popular demand. So, I had fun making these videos, so it was worth it. But as a Star Wars fan, I was checked out, and I only cared about the video games, because they're actually still good. The Jedi games are good. The Squadrons, the flight game was really fun. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about the show, dude. It was so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Let me know what I missed down below, or you can call me an idiot or whatever. or apparently, you know, I'm all the isms because I don't like this show. Even though I genuinely gave it a fair shot. You know, if I loved episode 1, I would have said that. Okay? But that's my opinion on the show. Overall score, if I had to score it, it's not the worst show ever. Probably give it like a 4 or 5. I have reviewed worse on this channel. Fear the Walking Dead season 7 and 8 set the bar as how bad a show could be and still have like professional level production value. So that set the standard. That's a 0. This is like a 4 or 5. And if you just turn your brain off, I guess it's fine, but even then it's not action packed enough to be worth it. So there's a lot better stuff you can do with your time. And with that, it's been your boy Shuggy, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Definitely let me know what you want me to review next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.